Welcome, everybody. You're tuned in to Real Talk with Yogiji. This is your space to ask your questions, talk about interesting topics, unveil taboos, ask for advice, anything you need. Drop us an email to info@yogiofsound and let this be your space so that we can share information that can help you in your journey, that can help you work through any difficulties or obstacles you may be going through. Please join me in welcoming Yogiji, Professor Surinder Singh. Satkartal Yogiji. Thank you for joining us again this week.
My pleasure.
This week, a lot of the viewers were asking questions about why you wear a turban. So I don't think many people come from a Punjabi background that may be tuning into the show. And even if they are from a Punjabi background, I think it's a great question. It's not something that we usually get much explanation to. It's just, this is what you do if you're a Sikh. So why do you wear a turban, Yogiji?
Turban is a tool preserving, is a spare battery. You can say in spiritual practices. Turban was introduced by the Sikh gurus. But I will come back to that point. Jasveer Kaur, the origin of turban is approximately 2000 BC. It was developed in Egypt. From there, it moved to Persia into Arabic countries, called the Star, and it got adopted. The main purpose it was to save our physical body from the heat, preserve it, so we don't get sunstrokes, we don't get burnt out with the heat. Um, as you understand the resolution within our body, that the heat will always travel toward up. So the majority of the case we have, the hair we have, is on our head. And if you see the whole process, through the thermal imaging, nowadays these softwares are easily available. Thermal image software, you can use it on your PC. From the front camera of your screen, you will see a thermal image of you, and you can see the movement of the heat, those colors. That the majority of the heat is in the head area, and especially when you're contemplating, especially when you're meditating, this very clean energy, this amazing heat travels from the bottom of your body toward your head. And to preserve that, to distribute that, so that you don't lose it, it was the turban was introduced amongst the seekers, the Sikhs. Gurus always had their head covered. There was no cutting of a hair from Guru Nanak onward. Anybody in the world of spirituality didn't touch their hair anyway. But Guru Nanak ji introducing the head cover, and this a turban had amazing purpose, amazing purpose. And when I had this question, which you just fired on me, I had this question with my teacher. There are kind of, like you say, psychological seasons, yeah. And I was a bit of in a way that questioning everything, questioning of why do we cut our nails? Why is that okay to if we can't cut our hair? And asking this to my parents, grandparents, and my teachers, and it traveled. This question came up to my turban. Today, I won't talk about nails. One day we will talk about it. But today, I would like to talk about my turban. And my teacher gave me this amazing experience. So I want to share that with you, if that is okay, Jasveer. Yeah.
Yes, please.
I shared this with you in your sessions with me, but now viewers can also do this. So I was called in specially with my into the school, into that premises with the Mahant Ajit Singh ji, and he said to me, Putra ji, have kesi ishnan, mean wash your hair, have a bath here on the tube well. Said, but I had ishnan and I finished my nitnem. He said, do as you are told, and I will not dare ask again. I said, okay ji, sab bachan. Then I went to people who washed my hair as he asked me to, and I appeared in front of him, my case down, still wet, and he said, let them dry. So let's start working today. We need to clean the whole premises. And I started doing that. After 3 or 4 hours, there was another person, Jai Singh ji, who always used to be alongside Mahant Ajit Singh ji, who was my teacher. And Jai Singh, today, out of blue, he asked me so many times, would you like tea? Would you like to have a cha? Would you like to have a tea? Like 2, 3 times. And now I felt a bit, drained out. And I said, Hanji Babaji, yes, sir, I would like to have tea. And Mahantji called me, he said, tea? Surinder, I never seen you drinking tea. So why do you, I said, I feel a bit exhausted, like I feel a bit tired. Maybe it's from the work. He said, oh, so when did you start feeling tired? I said, I'm feeling tired now. And it was a couple of hours, just about like around 1-ish, I started feeling like that at afternoon. And so he took his little diary out and his pocket watch, and he noted the time. He wrote something and he said, okay, have a cha if you want to. And I had this amazing cha that day. Tea was such out of this world. And he asked me to wear the star or whatever. I had a headgear and off to go to my house. And next weekend, it was, I think it was Saturday, and I was called in again. I called in and I waited, and exactly at the time when I had a shower, Kesi Ishnan on tube, I was told again to go wash my hair. I said, Hanji, okay, there you go. I will be cleaning all these premises once again today. So, and he said, dry your hair properly with the towel after that. And now cover it. After the Ganga, cover it. He used to call it aina. The mirror, it's at the front of the mirror, go and tie your turban nicely, beautifully. And I tied my turban. And he said, oh, are you ready? I said, Hanji. He said, we're going to clean the premises. I said, Hanji, because I kind of knew that was today is that. So I thought if there was a ritual, probably you have to bath first and then clean, because there was at one side there was Guru Maharaj's Prakash, so we had Gurdwara. So I started cleaning. And at 4 o'clock, around 4 or 5 o'clock, I was called in just before by Mahant Ajit Singh. He said, don't you want to have cha? I said, no, I don't feel like it. And he asked me to sit down. He said, so I want to share something with you. The last week, we did exactly same thing, but you didn't have the star on your head and you were tired around 1 o'clock. And 3 hours gone more than that time today exactly, and you're not tired. And penny just dropped, and I was like, oh, wow. I went through this experience, challenging this again and again and again. So in Punjabi we say hat kangar nu arsi ki. I mean, when you want to do something, then just don't hold back, just go into it. So why don't you do this experience, and you will understand the purpose of turban, why Guru Sahib gave us the turban, so that we not just preserve spiritual, mental, and physical energy. It was not a different thing for Bibiya ladies, because Guru never discriminated. Guru never saw you as a female or me as a male. Guru saw us as a humans. And it was Upadesh, it was the guidance for everybody equally. It was shared with everybody equally. So the purpose of Turban was installed to me like this, but it came from the Gurus. Now the questions were answered, like how was Guru Amar Das capable at the age of 80 to still go through such a hard work, going from Khadur Sahib, back-footed to the river Beas, and bringing a water, I think 4 or 5 gallons of water on his head every single morning at the age of 80 years. And these things, and again, all day serving Guru Angad Sahib. How did he manage such energy? And I see from young to old fighting for Guru Gobind Singh Sahib in 14 of his wars, how they never got tired. Where does this amazing energy, this kirpa comes from? And of course, the turban as a hand of our Guru, this mechanism, this tantra, this tool, this technique provided to us. The Guru's job is to keep us safe, and how he used this mechanism to not just preserve us from the heat from outside, also the inner energy churned by us every single morning in Nitnem, after the Japji, the Varasa, and Sangat, that lot of clean energy, how to use that throughout the day. And probably it is not in practice now, Jasveer Kaurji. The first thing we used to do was, the hukum was from the teachers, that when we wake up, the very first thing we will do is a kanga. We'll run through the wooden comb through our hair very thoroughly, slowly, so it doesn't pull unnecessarily the hair, only removes the dead hair. But clean it, and then do other things. Then at evening, when we go to the asan, to the bed, again to do the kanga. It was twice. So the energy is flowing and shifting. The static is broken. And the turban was the cherry on the top of the cake. It was amazing. It still is. So my purpose of turban on my head today, it serves not just physical energy maintenance purpose, it also for my mental health. I am more in a contemplative mode. I can think, have more focus, and smile spiritually. So turban, my dastar, pug, it helps me. It became who I am, what I am. It is not my identity. I think I don't need anything for my identity. My identity is what Karta Purukh made me. I don't need labels and uniforms. It is the hand of my Guru, the instructions of my Guru. How can I be a 3 step ahead from those who didn't seek, who didn't learn, who didn't have a Guru? How can I be a head in my life, and on my head he gave me a purposeful mechanism to have. So all of you who are listening to this, please do this experiment with having a hair wash, and do Hoover. Mommy will be happy, your wife will be over the moon that you picked up, or husband will be, oh well, I today have a day off from cleaning. So try to do this and make sure you note the time. You will see amazing shift in your energy. You'll be more focused. You won't get tired. It'll be amazingly strong, and mental fog disappears. You'll live churki lagi trisna. Guru Amardas says, when your focus is broken, then the desires will take over, and the star is a little bit. You can say it's a comma in our spiritual journey in that sentence. So the star will help you.
I mean, I've learned from you and I've heard this from you, and that's something that I had a chance to practice and test out to see if it has the same effect for me. But most people out there, they don't have access to that information or to that perspective to connect with what the turban means. Um,
Thank you for asking this question.
I've got a few more questions for the turban as well. Like you said, different names. And for the sake of our viewers who may not be Punjabi, um, can you tell us what is the difference between a turban, a dastar, a pug, a pagdi, a keski?
The same thing. It's
Why
just,
why there's so many?
which the star is Arabic word. The star is not Punjabi. Um, Pagdi, pug are regional things in North India. In from Braj, from Hindi pagdi, a keski, from which covers the case. It is very much in Gurmat traditions. We use keski as a word. So it is the same thing. The cloth, piece of cloth from the cotton, which every single day is being tied in a very particular way. It's not just, it doesn't work like a hat. There is a process behind the turban, so the energy um, is being shaken from it. If cotton holds anything, usually it doesn't, but still there is a process for the way we tie the star on our head, and it helps us to distribute the energy properly.
So, what is the significance of tying your turban fresh every day and not kind of just, taking it off and putting it back on like a hat? Why don't you do that?
Um, in the relevance, I'll say you'll burn a few more calories by moving your hand like this. It's good exercise for your shoulders, number one. Number two, mentally, your laziness. You want to look good and fresh. I want to share a little story with you just here, very quick one. There was an amazing king, one of the best in the world, being chosen in these days is the Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Um, uh, and one day he was walking through the corridors. He saw this guard of his dastar, his turban was amazing, and Ranjit Singh stopped and looked at him, and he said, "Jawan, mean a young man, your turban is amazing." And he reached out to his purse and gave him 5 um, gold coins. And the Jawan, that young guard, he replied, he said, "Sir, thank you so much, but let me go quickly and tie again, fresh." Ranjit Singh stopped for a moment. He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "This is from yesterday." And Ranjit Singh called. He said, "Take these coins back from him and put him in a prison. I do not want a lazy guard around who doesn't even tie the turban every single day. I'm just giving you this story because this story was told to me very, very kind of like 2, 3 times in a year. So that also the laziness, we wanna, when we go to have a darshan of Guru, we go there to see our Guru, we make an effort. A need to your dastar is your crown, and it should look beautiful. It should be tidy. It should be fresh. It will break the static. So therefore, there are so many reasons. You see, if you will just have a turban which is starched up, it will cut through your ear. It's a painful thing, and also it's like losing something on your head. Very irritating. You think a little bit wind, it will just, you will be walking with a one hand on your head like this, afraid if you fall down, the first thing will fall down
My
is your
question is more
turban.
about energetically. Like, what difference does it make energetically? Like, is wearing a hat to cover your head the same as wearing a turban? Will it serve the same
Yeah,
purpose if it's just about covering the head? Does it have to be a
we
turban?
yeah. Again, when I said the thermal imaging thing, you will see these temples, two temples. They are like jets. They create a lot of energy out. And there's a point here, soft palate. With the babies on their head, you see there is a pulsating place. That's where our Judah is. Then that's the place where a lot of energy is going up like this. And one is behind, where your neck is resting on, your skull is resting on your spine. In the neck, there is um,
Hmm.
um, a portion. So, in a process of when you go for a war, all the 4 points were covered, so that the energy is only used for one thing. Is there physically, you bring the outlet through the physical force, but normally these 3 parts, there was some sort of interference in these 3 parts. This was covered, and these are covered, and at the back is left open. You see the military, why do they shave their back? Why? It creates a vulnerability.
What do you mean, shave the back?
They're here, all the military practices throughout the world. You'll see these Fujis, these military men. Their hair at the back of their neck is removed completely, and
Why is
and
that?
the energy flow again. Whoever found this out, it creates that vulnerability, a little bit consciousness, because there is a difference between bravery and stupidity. you know you have to have a hosh, you have to have a consciousness with the training and energy you have. So usually in modern days, we will see the back of the neck is kept open by Sikhs, the way they tie turban. um, and you will see the armed forces, nihangs, the Khalsa force, you will see them not keeping this area open. They keep it covered, these temples, and especially the top of their head is covered. So it's all, our ancestors have developed this energetic uh, distribution process to create this, to preserve physical, mental energy. And if you had like a headlight, these 3 areas are open, and also the when your energy goes up, hat is usually woolen, wool hat. It swirls. Try to put a
I
black
think you get
bag,
different
like.
hat on your head, right? But I understand what you're saying. The material makes a difference, but if the purpose is just to cover the hair, why does it matter what you're using?
So many folds of of cloth. It's not just a one piece of handkerchief like this and head is covered. No, it would not do exactly same thing. So the folds of the cloth holds that energy, and then it's a distributed. Again, I go back to thermal imaging. When you tie the turban, you will see how the heat goes around. You know what they in modern terms call it aura. You know that in around your space, how you will feel a glow of energy around you. So the freshly tied turban does that.
Okay. And back in the time of the gurus, did women also wear turbans?
There's no women men thing. There is not. When it comes to spiritual practices, it is not a different rules for different genders in the Sikhs. They're all
So are you saying that all women wore turbans back then?
everybody were everybody was saying.
Why don't we see any evidence of that in our history books? Because any women that
You
are
probably
depicted
haven't looked into
with dupatta,
the Punjabis. You will see with the dupatta. You will see the Hindu ladies and Muslim ladies with the dupatta. The traditionally is created that you are married, you have a sign, or your head is covered, you have brothers and father, and so you're protected. It was signed like that. But the Sikhs, the ladies in Khalsa formation always had their turbans.
thank you, Yogiji. Thank you for having this this conversation. I just want to add in that to my own understanding of the turban of the dastar, that when it's tied correctly, it's actually more protective than helmets or like motorbike helmets. There are a lot of Sikh men out there who ride motorbikes and who wear their turbans, and people are skeptical about the safety of this. When your turban is tied correctly, it actually provides you more protection around the whole of your head than a helmet, and that has been proven. But it is when it's tied correctly. So there's a lot of videos and stuff that you can get access to on YouTube to learn about that. But thank you so much, Yogiji, for this conversation. It's been very, very insightful, and we'll see you again next week.
Satkartar.
Satkartar.